Today you will learn about the key areas of regulatory compliance that financial institutions must have in place in order to comply with the regulations within anti-money laundering and financial crime. So let's get right into today's video. Hi and welcome to FinCrime Agent. I'm Marco Beranzoni and this is my channel where I'm talking about financial crime and anti-money laundering related topics. If you haven't subscribed to FinCrime Agent yet, please hit the subscribe button right below and press the bell so you can get notified once new videos are going live on my channel. Check also the description of this video for very useful links, and you can find also the FinCrime Agent page on Patreon, where with a small contribution you can become part of the Patreon community and receive some unique material like a copy of the slides that are presented in my videos. So let's move into today's video. We are going to talk about regulatory compliance. You will learn about the high-level areas where financial institutions must comply in order to stay within the regulations for financial crime and anti-money laundering. The information on regulatory compliance that I'm sharing with you on this video today are really high level, but if you are now learning about regulatory compliance for banking and financial institutions, it should give you a good sense of the key areas, and then you can learn more about those ones in the description of this video, where you can see a link of the Financial Conduct Authority guidance, and this is where most of this information are taken from. The first point that I want to talk about is money laundering and terrorist financing. In order to comply with this specific point, there will be a number of actions that a bank would need to do. One is the risk assessment that we have mentioned before, where they are required to complete a review of their geography, footprint, for example, the systems they are using, and their overall risks for exposure to financial crime. This will be a key requirement based on the regulation to make sure you have a risk assessment that is updated and in line with the risk of the organization. Within money laundering and terrorist financing, you will also have the monitoring of customer activities, which will allow the identification of potential money laundering transactions completed by customers and will ensure that the financial institution would onboard only those customers that are in line with the risk appetite of the organization. So it's important that a customer due diligence process is in place. Customer due diligence is generally divided now in two areas. One is considered to be simplified due diligence for those customers that are considered to be low risk, and the other one is an enhanced due diligence for those customers which are of a greater risk, or if there is a potential exposure to a politically exposed person. Those ones are bringing a greater risk for the financial institutions, and is compulsory that they would go through an EDD, enhanced due diligence, when politically exposed people are present. So the monitoring activity will need to take place at the onboarding as well as ongoing relationship with customers. It's important that financial institutions maintain an updated risk scoring for their customers, and when there is a potential suspicious activity report or they identified unusual activities, a report is completed to the local crime agency for suspicious activities. One more area is insider dealing and market manipulation. Financial institutions must be able to demonstrate that they ensure their staff is monitored and they're taking all the precaution possible to identify when they could take advantage of their information that they have because of their roles or the position that they have within the organization. This is to prevent insider dealing, which is a crime, and financial institutions must ensure that it's not taking place by their staff. The data security is another very important point. This is where a financial institution is ensuring that there are systems in place to protect the infrastructure, and the organization is able to deter possible intrusion from cybercrime activities. So when there is a threat coming from a cybercrime exposure, they must have systems in place to detect those activities and have processes in place to mitigate cyber attacks. Last but not least, bribery and corruption. It's extremely important that financial institutions monitor against bribery and corruption to maintain this crime under control. For example, when staff is hired, this is maintained under monitoring to make sure that there are no specific connections with people within the organization that are not declared. This is to maintain a very transparent process and reduce the potential favoritism that can be done because of bribery and corruption. Bank staff would also need to report any gift and entertainment. Usually those must be pre-approved when they are dealing with customers. Those roles that are customer facing, you can imagine they may be more at risk of bribery and corruption. So when there is an exchange between bank staff and a customer, all those must be declared and generally pre-approved. Within bribery and corruption, it's also important that there is a clear reporting line when there are bribery and corruption to be reported. So staff must be trained to comply with the bank regulations against bribery and corruption and be very much aware on how to report those type of activities when they are identified. Those were the main elements I wanted to highlight regarding regulatory compliance. I have taken example of those ones from the FCA guidance, so if you want to find out more about those specific areas, there is a very user-friendly document that is provided by the FCA, and you can find this in the description of this video and learn even more about regulatory compliance in banking from there. I hope you have learned something new today and the contents that I shared were useful for you. If you have enjoyed my video, please share it with your contacts that may benefit from this type of contents, and remember to subscribe to FinCrime Agent and press the bell to be notified once new videos are going live. With that, I'm at the end of today's video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, see you soon.